Good morning, everybody. Hump day, a glorious, beautiful day out here today on the Rancho. And here's the situation we have today. One thing that disturbs me about the old doors in California in particular, and at first I thought it was in just the neighborhood here, but actually it's in all of California. Is when you built houses in the 50s, they tended to be 28-inch doors, and they're not the most useful and the most practical. Let me get some light on here. They're not the most useful and the most practical size. So I wanted to at least enlarge that and put a steel door on. So this is took it up an inch, which is fine, but this is steel here, and I like that. And I want to mount that door. I'll probably continue to still have the outswing feature. I like that, but the threshold is really geared to be, as they show you over here on the side. Might have a little picture of it here. Well, they call it right hand. It's really meant to be a right hand in swinging door, and I don't know, probably can't pivot it here to show you. Sorry about the camera work. But if you stand over here, you see this door is supposed to pivot on the inside with the hinges. That way crooks and stuff can't take the hinges off to gain access to it. So I guess that's the way we'll mount it, and then it'll have the threshold. So I need to do some rejigging on the inside, obviously. I do have the rot down here. As you guys can see, I've had a lot of bottom rot. I probably had some termites that were feasting in there. So it's just as well that I'm going to have to remove this. But if you come on the inside now, and I don't want this light to block us off up here, you can see I have, this really doesn't have a header on top of it. Headers are kind of used to take the weight off of these, so no weight of the building comes down on the frame. Well, this does not have a header. A header is like a 4x4 block that sits over top of the door. And then down each side you would have these studs, jack stud and king studs on the side that are actually holding the weight of the house or garage above it, and then the door just sort of hangs freely there, and there's never a chance of getting pressure on that to cause it to dislodge or get out of kilter. But can't do that today. So to begin, what I need to do is remove this old stud, get this, I've got a support beam across the top here, so I've got to be really, really careful about that. I do have other support on the side here, which is fine, that's good, but I want to be ultra careful about this. There's not really a lot of weight up at this end, which is good. I think this thing will be able to take that just fine. Like I said, I don't have a lot of weight up there, so that's a good thing. I'll probably end up removing this box, and then probably, I don't know, I'll leave this beam or work out some configuration on that to make sure that that continues to stay supported. And I got to be really careful because I don't want to start mucking around with this end. All right, guys, I've got all the shelving cleared off. Everything's all good to go. The next thing I need to do is remove these this shelving, and yeah, because I have to be able to put a stud here. And like I said, this shelving kind of sucks for width. It's not wide enough to really be that usable of storage. So I got my safety glasses on. Very important to have safety glasses on. You never know what could fly off the top of this. So go ahead and remove these top pieces. We don't have any issue with structural stuff here. That's fine. Let's take a little finagling. I'm using a, you notice this hammer compared to a, let me see, I got the regular hammer here. You can see the difference. The framing hammer tends to be longer, so it allows a little more leverage when you're doing framing work. And of course, that's what I cut my teeth doing in construction, was framing work. Of course, before you can frame, sometimes you have to do demolition. So that's what I want to do right now, y'all thinking, wow, things are on tight there. But if you've ever worked on a job site with a tough boss, there's no time for screwing around. So get these things down. So then the object of all this, you're wondering, is we want to get a probably 2 studs mounted over here, and then cut out this old one, and that new one will effectively be the new inset for the doorway, and allow it to come in. So it needs to get carefully removed. Now, like something like this, I'm going to probably have to get the sawzall and cut the ends, because I don't want to knock the siding off of the building here with some of these elements. And like I said, there's nothing structural on here, so we don't have to worry about anything coming down. We do have to worry. We're going to make up some kind of support for that while we're doing our framing, and then we're going to get some carriage bolts. We're going to get 2 carriage bolts, and we're going to bolt that in. I'll show you what we're going to do to make a very safe arrangement. So in the meantime, I'm going to continue working this off and get this cleared off, and then we'll talk about bracing for the framing and where we go from here. So, okay. This is where we want to be really careful, because you can see, I don't know how well you can see it, we have a little 1x2 that's running along the edge of this stud, and what that gives is a nailing surface for the siding to nail on. So we got to be careful how aggressively we remove things. And in point of fact, I'm not going to remove this inner piece, because this will help give some additional spacing as I set the new stud next to it. I'm going to put it right to the right it is, and secure it right to it, and then we're going to be cutting across the top here to widen it. And we're going to be configuring that pretty good with some carriage bolts up to the top for a lot of strength. I don't want to redo the cross beams and all that. That's a hell of a lot of work that's not really necessary. There's not that much of a load being carried up there. So I've got everything cleaned and stripped away on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that new piece, and then once that's in place and secured, we can come across and cut the top. We also have to reconfigure this top piece too, because this door is significantly needs significantly more space. It's going to have to move this up probably 1 level of 2x4 there. So we're going to have to remove these top pieces too. So the trick is probably going to be to inset the door, and then mark out for the frame, remove the door again, and then secure the top plate on there. So that's what we're going to be doing. Since it's a pre-hung door, there is no weight being borne on the top of it. So I guess I feel pretty comfortable not having a header on top of the door. It may not be, it's certainly not code for houses, but I guess for garages it's okay. So let me go ahead and get this piece measured up here, and we'll keep moving along. Got that first stud set in place real good up here, very strong, and that's going to give a good surface to secure the outside sheathing, the clapboards on the outside to it. So yeah, the next thing we want to actually probably double up this 2x4, because we're going to be cutting back that sheathing so we can accommodate a trim piece on the outside. In other words, if we were just to cut it off here and mount it, when we went to put our sheathing on the outside here, we would have to cut back about 2 inches or so, and it would be beyond the inside stud. So you got to always think ahead when you're doing framing and remodeling, where what's going to be where when you're done. So I'm going to go ahead and set a second piece, sister it next to this one. Not only will that provide extra strength, and you can see how that's sighted up on top of the top plate. It had a slight bow in it, but big deal. We're not putting drywall on the inside. The 2x4 had a slight bow, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We're going to be cutting it off across here anyway for the new door entry. So it should all be good. So I'm going to go ahead now and get the other piece set next to it. I have that second stud, the sister stud, ready to go there. But what I want to do before I secure that second one in place over here, I want to make sure that this new beam here, this new stud is going to carry the weight of what's up top here. So the way I can do that, I have these because I'm going to be cutting this old stud off. So the way I'm going to do that, I have these carriage bolts that I'm going to install across here up on the very top there, and it's going to go through all those levels. And I think I have longer, I think I have a couple longer ones over here. Yeah, I got a couple real long ones here, which is good. I used these when I was raising the inside roof, vaulting the ceiling. And these will be long enough. I want to be able to put like 2 of these, or at least 1 of these up here, right down Broadway there. And that's going to help take all the weight from here and transfer it over to this side. And I'll probably put another one down lower. I don't need a big wide one, but anything that can help distribute that load from here to here. You got to be very careful when you're doing framing work, especially retrofitting work, because you got to understand the forces and where the forces are, and all the force here is coming down on this. Of course, we have other studs at it looks like 20 and 18 or 20 inches here, but we want to do whatever we can to strengthen this up. So I'm going to get the drill out, and it's going to be tough. This stuff is really a arm buster. When you go here through this redwood, you can be gone through it with a drill, and it gets caught all of a sudden, and your wrist just smashes up to the wood above. So we need to be careful. Well, got to get it done. You can kind of better see the arrangement I have up top here. I've got one very important carriage bolt on the top, and then I have two below for extra strength on the new stud there. So all I have to do is I'm gonna have to get a 3/4 inch. This is, or I don't have any deep well sockets. But I'm going to tighten this up, and you can see I've now cut this short enough so that when I remove this top plate here, I'll be able to set a new top plate on to give us more room to get the door in set here. So I'm going to end up doing the same thing on the other side, and then once the cross piece is mounted in, I'm going to go ahead and put a new centerpiece in too. So stuff's rolling along. Okay, and there goes the old top plate on there, so that's good freaking news. So we'll go ahead now and take a coffee break. The top of the stud is now cut away. All the weight's now being borne by the sister stud. I'm going to go ahead and, after the coffee break, secure the other stud on the other side. I've tightened down those heads on the carriage bolts there, so that they're pretty much inset into the wood a little bit, so it'll help to help this sister along together next to this one, this other stud. So time to take a break. Are you excited? I think it's going to fit in real nice here. Just enough room on the sides here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the tabs on the side that'll allow this door to swing in and out. get that set up. Well, actually, I'll probably do the top mount. I've got to remove this small piece up here, get rid of that, and measure for a new 2x4 for the top that we can nail the top plate into. So yeah, good progress. It's about 11:30. Been on the job about an hour or so. Everything's real good. Everything is beautifully supported here, and I'm really happy with the way this this job is going. So I got some more framing to do, and then I should be good to go today to clean up and call it a day. And maybe I'll do, if it's still early enough, I'll go outside and do the outside trim around. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way the door is setting. It'll be an in-swinging door, which is actually better for me. I prefer it. So okay, it'll have the sill on the outside too, the bottom sill that'll keep the water bouncing out. So okay, let's keep rolling along. That's basically the way she's gonna look on the outside of there. And I got to cut back a little more of the top, and then very carefully cut down that side. We're going to use a much finer tooth radial saw to come down there. Just want to be real careful. We don't want to chip any of that wood. You can see a chip out in the bottom down there, but that's fine. We can fill that a nice snug fit. I still have some more internal carpentry to do, and then I have some shims and things to level it off and get it plumb. We have to make sure it's perfectly plumb so that the door operates correctly. We don't want it to be swinging in automatically when you open it a little bit. You know, it's got to be straight up and down, or else it puts stress on the frame of it. So all right, time to take another break. Got to make sure to drink plenty of fluids today. It is hot out here, guys, but it's gone really well. Frame is all set in. The door is hung there. It's really good. I've got it set up now so the pre-hung casing is nice and flush, so we can go back. I got to buy some of this trim, and we'll kind of have a neat little offset there, a nice little detail. We don't have to take it all the way over to the edge here and be flush. It's a nicer detail. We'll have a wider header like you see up on top there, and then we'll use this thinner stock for the side. So I have to carefully measure in how far we need to come over the side. I'm going to be really careful to draw a good line and then set up a guide on here, so when I run my radial saw, it just doesn't run willy-nilly up the wall there. I really need to try to do that as neat as possible, starting with cutting that back. So I'll have to lay the guide piece and cut it into two pieces, one above and one below. I don't want to cut back this any more than I have to, but I'm not quite sure I'll do that today. I'll let you see on the inside here. It has been hotter than the devil today. You can see how nice that closes. No problem with the swing. Everything perfectly level, everything flush. So yeah, awesome. So it's been a good effort today. That you can see on the side, I doubled this up. I sistered this second 2x4 framed out over the top side, so carriage bolted that real good all the way through, then sistered this on once the carriage bolts were in place. This is very strong, this support now, so we haven't given up enough, we haven't given up a lot of strength by doing this, so I'm pretty darn happy about that. Still, I'll be very aware of putting heavy things on top of this particular section. Not that I'm really worried with those big bolts that you see up there, but you know, well, I'm going to take another break, a water break here, and then probably go get some trim. All right, time to cut back the molding. I went and picked up some today. Nice how that just drops out, eh? Be real careful. Should be able to easy to get that top in, so I'm going to go ahead and run down the bottom, and then when we run the caulk, when I run the caulk in the side, there'll be no issue with fitting. And you can see we'll have a real nice reveal here right down there, so that'll be perfect. You know, it'll actually look like our door was original installation, which I really like. So it hits the backer real good on the 2x4 there. So that's excellent. So, okay, we're gonna ram this project home now. Okay guys, we got Missy Jen in the house helping me do the cleanup. You can see I got the frame out done around the door. Fitting real good. I got a little bit of a reveal, about a half an inch across all sides. Makes it look a little more detailed. So as soon as she finishes cleanup, I'm just going to mount the lock hardware and the knobs and things, and we'll be calling it a day. So see you at the final section. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for today. Jen and I have a beautiful new steel garage door. And the nice thing about the entryway here is it is raised off the ground. We're not going to have to worry about water intrusion into the garage. There's a concrete pour there that's about a half an inch higher, but this will make absolutely sure we don't get any water intrusion at all. It's nice and tight. It's well framed on the outside. I cut that as cleanly as I could with the radial saw, and get a little bit of a reveal around the edge, about a half an inch all the way around for a little bit of a nicer detail here. So I think Jan will probably caulk this up, and then this weekend we'll be able to paint it. It's got nice double locks on it, the regular lock with the deadbolt. Excellent. So we do have some good stuff that we keep in the garage, and we would like to keep it. So it's been hotter than blazes today out here, but I've taken a lot of water breaks and I'm feeling good. The only thing I noticed, this clapper down here at the bottom is taking a lot of wear down here, so we're going to have to probably bite the bullet and repair that with one of our what I want to call it, a make-believe clapper, tongue and groove. We have to fashion our own tongue and groove. Stay tuned for that. That's kind of interesting. So there we go. There's the new garage door. Jen, are you happy?
Excellent. I'm very happy.
You're very happy. There we go. All right. So thanks for watching, everybody, and stay tuned, because you know what the
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. There's always new adventures and projects ahead. Thanks for watching, everybody.